So, folks, we're about set to go here right now. As joining us up here on the podium at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we have a couple of our guests here from Discount Tire. It is time to fire the engines for 20 drivers here in USF 2000. Again, joining us, our guests from Discount Tire for the command to fire engines, Taylor Deal and Kaylee Deal.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there you have it, a call from the podium to fire up these engines. There's Elliot Cox right there, the Indianapolis, Indiana native, trying to get a big victory here. A podium, I think, would be good for this young driver who sat in your seat where you are right now. Greg Rakestraw, last year, he was my driver analyst. He ran in our USF Juniors program, and all he kept talking about when he was here was this year, next year, when he's going to get a chance to run here, and he's had a great weekend so far. I reckon race number 1, but, man, he came back strong in race number 2.
Young man that doesn't turn 16 years of age until we get to the end of August, and again, that frankly is the norm for this group. You jokingly called Simon Sykes the veteran of the group because he's 22 years of age.
Yeah, right.
Again, the majority of this field are teenagers, and as you have pointed out, just kind of the way that it works out, there are sometimes drivers that spend 2 or 3 years racing at this level before progressing on to Indy Pro, but largely this is a new group from what we saw here a year ago.
Yeah, you know, what's a common thought is you spend 2 years at every level. 1 year as a rookie, you get used to the car and the tracks. Then the next year you come back and try to win that championship. We had guys like Oliver Askew and Kyle Kirkwood who kind of just whirled their way through. Sure. Renus VK as well, one and done every year. But for the most part, a lot of the drivers take 2 years. And indeed, that's kind of the focus, right? But you're right, this year we got a bunch of rookies. We had so many drivers move up into the Pro 2000 category this year. That's why we have almost a record number, 20 drivers in that class. We haven't had that many drivers on that level of our program since probably about 2012. So to have that many drivers move up, we've got all these rookies coming in. There's only a handful of drivers in their second year. So by and large, pretty much a freshman class in USF 2000.
And just like the previous 2 races for this series, one of these yesterday, the first one out of the chute this morning at 8 a.m., this is a 15-lap race. There is a time limit in case we need it. We should have an ample window of time to finish all 15 laps today. Again, with 2 more races to follow, Indy next at 1, and of course the GMR Grand Prix coming your way during the 3 o'clock hour.
Yeah, we're thrilled to be able to bring you these drivers who eventually will get themselves to the NTT IndyCar Series to kind of fire things up here in the afternoon. Again, this is where you saw the Renus VKs running, the Kyle Kirkwoods, the David Balukas. This is where they started in this program. So you're watching the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series here. We say hello to all those of you around the track who are going to take in this USF 2000 race, and those of you, of course, watching on the USF Pro Championships app or on our YouTube channel from around the country and around the world. We know we have such an international field. We have people watching down in New Zealand, over in Europe as well, Australia. So a shout out to all of those of you. Thanks for tuning in with us here as it is time to go racing. 20 drivers set to go. Simon Sykes on the pole will set the grid as they come out of turn number 14. It'll be his call to punch off first. He's got Nikita Johnson on the outside, so a 22-year-old on the inside, a 14-year-old on the outside, and they're going to be battling for a championship here in 2023. Out of turn number 14, down this long straightaway, they'll key on the starter, and it's time to get things underway. Final race of the triple header. Sykes punches off, and we are green, green, green. And 2, 3 wide already coming down this long straightaway into turn number 1. They'll eventually make it 4 wide. Look at this, 4 drivers coming, and it's Sykes to the bottom. Lockie Hughes is going to try to run the outside. Sykes is going to send it to the bottom. Hughes in a better spot. And in fact, a couple of cars, I think Papa Savas is going to get through as well. So Sykes trying to be smart. He'll roll into third. Very tough place to start on the pole position because, Greg, it's such a long run down. Everybody getting that draft.
Third time literally was the charm. I think that's the best start we have seen. Now, frankly, some of the incidents have happened outside of turn number 1 these first couple of races. But, again, as much as we want to see competitive, entertaining racing, the focus here is learning. These young men are learning the craft as they are doing this. So it's great to see that progression from literally race 1 yesterday to race 3 today.
And we always want clean, green to checker races. We don't want them driving behind the yellow, under the safety car or the yellow flag. We want to have them with lots and lots of racing. Being told that the start is under review, I don't know that it's going to be for anybody up front. That looked pretty clean. I think more potentially for mid-pack. We did have a driver go off, a couple of them off out the outside of turn number 10 there. That could potentially bring out a full course if they're not able to get back onto the racetrack. One of those is the number 90 machine involved there, which could be Jacob Douglas. You got to be kidding me. This kid has had a horrible weekend, up and down. Douglas, we think, potentially the driver off over in turn number 10. There might be two of them, though, over there, so potentially looking to see if we go full course. They are going to go full course yellow here right now. Here's the start right now. Watch further back. I think a couple of drivers may have jumped out early before the green. There's one to the right. There's contact there. That was actually Chase Gardner. He's got a broken wing. Gardner gets checked up. A couple drivers moved out. Gardner didn't move anywhere, but he got shot from the back. So Chase Gardner, bad luck for him as well. All
right, go back to the incident that happened as we were trying to complete that first lap. The second car that was involved was Garcia Arce. We mentioned the fact he had finished 6th and 10th in the first two races. He has gotten the car up and fired, so he's going to be on the tail end of this lead group whenever we do restart. But it was Jorge Garcia Arce that, again, unfortunately got caught up in that incident with Douglas coming out of turn number 10.
Yeah, Jacob Douglas just turning into turn number 10. Garcia Arce was right on the inside and made contact with his right rear. It's just been a tough weekend for both of these two exclusive Autosport drivers, both Jacob Douglas and Chase, as I talked about, issues with him as well, Chase Gardner. So a broken wing there. So I believe, there's the problem there. You could I said, left front to right rear contact. Garcia Arce in the number 10. The Mexican for D-Force Racing brings that machine in. They'll go to work trying to get it fixed, but he's going to go a couple of laps down. Right now, if you saw the replay there, Gardner almost went over, Douglas almost went over. It was kind of up in the air quite a bit, coming down to potential damage when it hit. He's obviously not coming back to pit lane as of this time. So contact with those two drivers, tough for him. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see, Chase Gardner come in for a front wing change. Here's that start again. So if you look further back, look at that yellow roll hoop. That's Chase Gardner. He's holding his spot. One driver pops out and actually gets into the back of him. That was I want to say the 33 of Max Taylor. So Taylor jumps out early and he makes contact with Chase Gardner pushing him forward. There's the 4 wide coming into the corner, and that was a good start there for Papa Sabas. I thought it was Lucky Hughes. It was actually Papa Sabas in the middle there who comes out with the race lead.
Well, you referenced Gardner. It's been an up and down weekend, and now he does come in and has to get that wing taken care of. So he'll go to the back of the field when we do restart. But remember, he salvaged a lot of points with a great run in race 1 yesterday. Coming from the back row, worked his way all the way up to 5th. Didn't have that same luck this morning, so you're right. It's been a tough weekend, but Robbie could have been a whole lot worse than the number 95 car.
Let's have another look at this start here. And if you look further back for that yellow, well back at the top of the screen, you're going to see it. Actually, no, so it indeed was Max Taylor popping out, but it wasn't contact with Taylor and Gardner. There was enough room. He pulls out, no contact for Taylor and Gardner, but Gardner got whoever was in front of him checked up a little bit. I think that would have been Garcia's potentially checked up, and he just kind of got into the back of him as well. So, yeah, tough start for a couple of drivers here. Bad luck for two exclusive Autosport drivers as Jacob Douglas, I believe, still out onto the racetrack now. So the crew will go pick up the number 90 exclusive Autosport machine. The 95 of Gardner in pit lane, as is the 10 of Garcia. So, you know what? Again, we expected a cleaner start. Had some contact there. But nonetheless, the star of the show on the opening circuit and a half, essentially, was Papa Sabas, as he's able to get himself into the lead. A great run, split the difference coming in, and again, holding Sykes down to the bottom. Simon realized when you're that low on the racetrack, less grip and a tighter corner to make it, you got to get on the brakes earlier.
As far as Douglas is concerned, he will finish 20th in this event. He was 15th in race number 1 yesterday, 6th in race number 2 earlier today, but unfortunately a 20th place finish for Douglas, unless they can bring that car back in and try to get it restarted.
Indeed, and Simon Sykes, who started on the pole, getting shuffled all the way back to 6th position on that opening circuit. Everybody kind of swallowed him up. This will be an opportunity for him to attack once again, though, on the restart, because again, starting P1 is a tough place to be on the restart here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on this road course, because the simple fact is you get the green, and it's such a long run, Greg, from the yard of bricks down into turn number 1. It's a straightaway in and of itself to a certain extent, so everybody behind you is going to get that big draft coming down into turn number 1. P1.
I believe we're looking at about 2,800 feet of straightaway down the front straightaway for the road course configuration, and frankly, Holman Boulevard on the backside of this, or the middle of the oval, is not there. It's about 2,400 feet or so. So these are two of the longer straightaways that these young drivers, and frankly, any of the drivers in the series, get to run during the road and street course circuit because of the way this wonderful facility was built at the turn of the previous century.
That's it. Let's have a look at the lineup as it runs now. Papa Savas is the leader, 3 laps down. Lockie Hughes in second, so it's a Jay Howard Driver Development 1-2 right now. Then we've got Nikita Johnson in third, Matt Clark in fourth, and Sam Corey P5. Sykes, as we talked about, coming down to sixth. Elliot Cox is into the 7th spot. He gained a couple of spots there. Max Garcia 8th, Max Taylor 9th, and Gordon Scully rounding out the top 10. Danny Dzelski, who started back in 13th, moves his way up to 11th. Ethan Ho in 12th. Avery Towns 13th. Al Morey, who started in 15th, now 14th. Maxwell Jameson started dead last. He has worked his way up to 15th spot, so he's obviously able to make the advancements based on the fact that Gardner, Garciarza, and Douglas had their contact. Lucas Mann 16th, Ping in 17th, Gardner with a new wing back on the racetrack.
A new wing that doesn't match, but it's a new wing that works, and that's good enough. So he is back up and running. And again, Garciarza trying to kind of make way towards the field as well. And I think we're going to see the green flag the next time by, my friend.
Indeed. George Garciarza able to get the car fixed. Great job for the D-Force driver. Shout out to them to essentially change whatever bent suspension components there were on the left front, the contact between he and, of course, the number 90. We'd be able to see it right here. We'll check the next camera view to see whether or not they've cleared the incident here for the number 90 of Jacob Douglas. They may have just pulled him back behind the wall, indeed. So he has probably just been pulled back. Tough one for Jacob Douglas for sure, as he'll end up in the 20th position, but we are planning to go back to green flag this time by. It'll be 4 laps down. We'll have 11 laps still remaining in the final race of this USF 2000 triple header here on the road course at IMS. And get ready for this one, because you thought the start was exciting. It's the same for the restart, because it's such a long run, as I said. We'll see whether or not Papa Savas is able to hold it. This is, I think, his first restart in P1 in USF 2000. So a new opportunity here to learn something for Papa Savas, as he will get on the loud pedal and they'll work their way down and watch for everybody to attack. Matt Clark's already gone to the inside of the 17, and Nikita Johnson. There's a big move. Lucky Hughes is going to the bottom as well. Let's see if we go 3 wide. No, Johnson's going to come to the inside as well. Clark defending to the bottom. He may lose a spot. He's going to hold position. No, side by side coming out of turn number 2 over to 3. They've got to get smart, get back in line. They do. And everybody's settling in. There's a couple of spots already there for Gardner's. He's going to make at least 3. So 3 spots for Gardner's. He is on the attack. Good luck for him to be able to get that wing replaced. And we'll watch to see how far Chase Gardner can come forward. But Greg, pretty solid run there for Papa Savas.
And Rob, let's go back to the start of the race, and we said it was going to be under review, and obviously there was some damage that was caused. Well, 2 drivers were given drive-through penalties at the start of this group. Taylor, the 33, and Towns, the 93, were assessed drive-through penalties. Those are the 2 that peeled off as the field was coming through turn 14. Those have now been served. They're back at the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, tough. So those drivers will be coming back out here. The 93, as we said, into pit lane. That is Avery Towns. We'll wait to see if he gets back on track. But again, as we said, the issue there, the drive-through for jumping the start. Out front right now, though, it is Lockie Hughes. I believe he may have taken the lead. Indeed, Hughes has gone to P1. So Lockie able to get by his teammate Papa Savas. So we'll see how this all plays out. Simon Sykes trying to get things back to where he needs to be. He's trying to get another win right now, because at the very least he's going to try to beat Lockie Hughes. That is the point leader coming in here. 7 points. Nikita Johnson third in points. Papa Savas and Sam Corey round out the top 5. Again, a long way to go in this championship. Lots of races. We mentioned it earlier. We're on the oval at IRP in a couple of weeks' time. Road America, Mid-Ohio, Toronto, still on the docket for us this year. And again, look at the lead here for Lockie Hughes. He's taking advantage of it, because the fight back behind them is starting to get aggressive. And there's side-by-side racing for Papa Savas and Clark. I believe Sykes has been able to work his way up. Potentially, that might be Sykes into second. Now, they're second or third for Sykes. Both of those cars very similar.
By the way, Hughes and Johnson trying to have podium finishes in all 3 events here this weekend. Hughes has been the runner-up in both. Nikita Johnson's been third in both. And right now, those 2 drivers run 1, running 2.
Contact right there. A couple of drivers making contact. I believe that might have been Papasavas and Clark getting together over in turn number 7, so they're stacking things back up again. You can see coming up there as well the black and yellow machine of Max Garcia. Being told the number 33, Max Taylor, being told if he does not come in for that what do you call it, drive-through penalty, that he's going to get the black flag. We saw him pop out.
Yeah, correct. I say that it was 93 and 33 had to serve a drive-through. I saw the 93 come down. The 33 did not. So again, Taylor, the 33, needs to serve that penalty, or he will be further called into the principal's office at this point.
Indeed, and they're not going to like that. He's a USF Juniors driver coming up to run USF 2000. Elliot Cox having a good run as well. He's been able to work his way up into 4th position. Cox to P4 as Clark got roughed up a little bit there. This is the battle we're seeing for 2nd spot. It's Johnson versus Sykes. Sykes has gone to the inside. Book it. He'll go to P2. So a good run there for Simon Sykes, starting to get back to where he needs to be. And the 33 of Max Taylor, the VRD Racing entry, serving his drive-through penalty. That was an easy call for the jump start. We saw him pop out. And again, for Max, getting that drive-through served. And away we go.
Now we're starting to see the field spaced out a little bit now as we're heading in towards Holman Boulevard at this point.
Big lead for Lockie Hughes. We'll start looking at the split. 2.4 seconds last time by, but that was to Johnson as Sykes was able to get by Nikita. Oh, there's the driver's gun. Overcooked there. Coming through, that might have been Dzelski. One of the drivers overcooking it coming through turn number 7. And that's outside the top 4. Papasavas 5th, Clark, Corey, Garcia, Dzelski, and Gardner top 10. How about Chase Gardner? Had the issue, lost the wing, started at the tail of the field, worked his way already up into the 10th position. He's got the bit between his teeth for sure.
You mentioned Lockie Hughes, and Lockie is an Aussie. He's a little bit older than a lot of the drivers in the series. He's 21 years of age. It's his 2nd year of running in the States. Able to run one USF 2000 event last year, ran the F4 series, and he was, like a lot of young drivers, affected by the COVID pandemic. Really couldn't race in 2020 and 2021, and clearly, Rob, making the most of his full-time opportunity here so far this season.
Indeed, Lockie, a very talented young driver. Look at this fight here. This is Sam Corey getting to the inside of Cox. That is Clark, Corey, and Cox. That is 5th, 6th, and 7th. Back to Lockie Hughes, a very talented driver. And listen, we've seen guys have success with J. Howard driver development before. Christian Rasmussen was a champion in the USF 2000 category and the Pro 2000 category. And that battle there a little further back is pretty aggressive too. That's Garcia, Ho, and Gardner going at it. That is, I think, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Man. This is, we got a couple of good little battles here, little trios going at it.
And we have a car that is slowing down the backstretch as well, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. There may have been a little contact that was involved there. Car is slowing down, I believe, unfortunately, it's Elliot Cox.
So potential spin for Elliot Cox coming out of turn number 5 and 6, and indeed we are going to go full course yellow for whatever has happened on the back straightaway. Elliot Cox, the issue. So Cox had some trouble coming out of turns 5 and 6. Hopefully we'll pick up a camera there when we can.
Which is a shame because, again, the local product was having such a really good race. He was in 6th position, but all of a sudden we saw that car starting to slow down the backstretch.
You wonder whether or not the remnants from the accident potentially that happened on Friday, but again, was in the middle of a pretty good scrap, as we know. Up front, Lockie Hughes sees that 2.5 second lead he had disappear. That's going to be music to the ears of Simon Sykes. He wants to get right back into the fight for sure. So 2.7 seconds was the gap. That will go away. So being told no replay of the spin potentially for Elliot Cox, but he is on that back straightaway, we believe, between turns 6 and 7. We'll pick it up when they come through here. But full course yellow for the 67. Again, rough one for Cox. Driven over in race number 1. Awesome drive in race number 2. Put on a show, and then of course was running strongly, and then had the issue here in race number 3.
So Hughes, Sykes, Johnson, Papasavas, and Clark currently your top 5. This morning you referenced Elliot Cox. He was 7th. Frankly, he was racing in a much better position yesterday when, again, that scary contact happened. And, well, you know, not finishing is not something that Elliot wanted to be thinking about. The fact that he again, was safe out of that event, was a win for him a day ago.
So here's the shot, folks. That's actually to the inside coming out of the 5-6 combination as they head down Hellman Boulevard. So that's the driver's right. Looks like contact between he and another driver. He actually got into the tire wall on the inside of the racetrack and, of course, got caught up in some of the banners that are there as well. So Elliott's already out of the car. The AMR IndyCar safety team is with him now, but looks like potentially shaking a little bit. Of course, had that nasty wreck, as we said, had a driver, Max Garcia, fly over top of him. The tire actually hitting the roll hoop, and Sam Corey's out. That is Sam Corey out of the race as well. What happened to Corey, who finished 5th? He looks to be visibly upset about something that happened on the racetrack. He was right in the hunt as well. Sam Corey out. So we've got some top young guns who have had some trouble here early. We have 8 laps down, only 7 more to go. And again, hopefully, well, we did see Elliott Cox out of the car, but man, that's a couple of rough ones here for Elliott.
And again, we didn't have a great visual. I saw a car that was slowing down the backstretch, but you wonder if those two are out. Potentially was there contact between the two of them coming out of that 5 and 6 combination.
They could have been together, and that resets everything. So Hughes, Sykes, Johnson, Papasawas, and Clark. That's your top 5 right now. Right behind them is Max Garcia. Then it's Ethan Ho. He's up to 7th. Chase Gardner runs in 8th. Gordon Scully in 9th, and potentially another top 10 finish here for Al Morey the 4th, as he has come from deep in the field. Again, started back in the 15th and now finds himself up into 10th. So Dzelski 11th, Ping 12th. Lucas Mann 13th, Max Taylor 14th after serving his drive-through. This will bring him back in the fight. Drivers out of the race now. Sam Corey, Garcia Arce still running. Cox, we know, is out. Towns, after serving his drive-through, actually retired the car, so he's finished. Jameson done. Maxwell Jameson, as we know, on the opening lap. Jacob Douglas not making it back around to the yard of bricks. So right now, it looks like 14 on the lead lap, 15 running.
We're going to do a little tire barrier repair here as well before we get back up and running. And again, if you're watching the video board as we are from our position inside the pagoda, the camera basically has been kind of reoriented so we can show you this shot. That is kind of looking back towards the front straightaway of the oval complex. So where that shot is kind of coming out of that switchback, so to speak, as they are normally heading down the direction as a lot of the cars are passing now, heading towards the museum into turn number 7. This is the other and the beginning of the straightaway at Hellman Boulevard.
And again, you hate it for the drivers who are local. They obviously want to have a fantastic run here. And there's Sam Corey, who won race number 1, got 5th in race number 2, and was a front-running driver, top 5 here in race number 3 as well. But I think kind of detailing to his driver coach, Callan O'Keefe, what happened out on the racetrack there as they were battling through that 5-6 combination. It's a tough part of that racetrack because really it's a single file corner. So if they're coming out of 4, Greg, kind of side by side a little bit. If one gets up on the curbing trying to go side by side, it'll upset the apple cart pretty quickly on what are very, very light race cars.
Yeah, Sam Corey on your screen there a moment ago, just 15 years of age, young man from Cornelius, North Carolina. Of course, a huge win that he scored yesterday in race number 1.
Multi-time winner last year in the USF Juniors program as well. Did a bunch of outlaw karts and micro sprint karting at Millbridge. If you're a race fan, you know that guys like Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell will kind of show up at Millbridge every once in a while to have some fun on that tight dirt racetrack. So Sam's done a bunch of different kind of racing, which is great. A really talented young man and a well-spoken young man as well. Tough for him. Really hope that he would have had another good finish to kind of cap things off. 2 top 5s, including that win, as we know. Came into this race sitting 5th place in the points as well. That's one of the keys. He's 5th place in points. Garcia Arce is 7th in points. Douglas is 8th in points. All these drivers out already. So tough for all these guys having some issues.
As the cars come down the front straightaway, we are now down to 5 laps left to go in this 3rd and final race of the USF 2000 weekend. Again, the next on-track activity will be at 1 o'clock. The Indy Next race will take place following this one. Again, 5 laps now left to go in this USF 2000 event.
Simon Sykes has been able to get himself back up to second. Remember, he fell back to 6th position on that opening circuit, so he has scrapped his way back forward. At this point, would lose a couple of points to Lockie Hughes, but I'll tell you, if we even get one more lap in the books, this is that scenario we talked about, right? Sykes could take second here and get the points, but the guy in front of him is the guy that's leading him in the points. Does he want to lose, or would he instead try to go for it? Again, in a great place to potentially sit first or second in the points coming out of the weekend, heading to the Oval at Indianapolis Raceway Park for that Freedom 75 part of the Carbonite Classic. But again, you got the two primary championship combatants, Greg, right now, 1, 2, and then you throw Johnson. Nikita Johnson's third in points, so the top three drivers, again, right up front.
Well, we're starting to see the wrecker clear the area, and obviously the car is a part of that as well that is on the hook. So again, I think you'll see at least maybe one more lap under yellow before we try to get this to a clean and green restart to hopefully finish this 15-lap feature.
Always like to try to get as much green flag racing as we can for these young drivers, part of this development program. And again, that's one of the key things, Greg, about this program. We haven't really had a lot of chance to talk about it, but $1.6 million on offer in both awards and, of course, the prize money and the scholarships, which are so big. Drivers here in the USF 2000 program, and the scholarship program brought to you by Discount Tire, $433,200. That's what they're racing for, the money to move them to USF Pro 2000 next year for the drivers in Pro 2000, over $664,000 to be able to make that move up to the Indy Next Series. And that really is kind of the calling card to the USF Pro Championships. A scholarship unlike any other one in the world. Skip Barber is our official school. You win that school, you end up getting $100,000 to come to USF Juniors. Same with USF Juniors, over $220,000 to move into USF 2000.
Names like Piggott and Askew come to mind in terms of guys that have won their way up multiple levels of the series to give themselves an opportunity.
Kyle Kirkwood, of course, as well, right? He won every level, but all three of those drivers, the interesting part about it is they wouldn't have been able to continue without the scholarship. Oliver Askew, for sure, Kyle Kirkwood being one as well, and as we said, Spencer Piggott. Without that scholarship, their career was going to end.
And of course, Kyle Kirkwood, now a race winner in the IndyCar Series, having won at Long Beach some 4 weeks ago.
We were very, very happy about that, the whole crew.
These drivers will see green the next time by. This reminder, if you want to interact with us on social media, use the hashtag IndyGP. Take a pic from your seat and tell the world you are here and having a great time on this Saturday here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
So you thought the start had some electricity to it. Well, amp it up again, because we have a 3-lap dash, essentially. They're going to put lap number 12 in the book when they get back around. There'll be 3 laps to go in a 15-lap contest. The fight right now, the top 3 in points currently sit 1, 2, 3, 4, because actually Papa Sabas, who is in 4th rather, actually 4th in points. So the top 4 in points essentially running as they are on the racetrack. So again, any of these drivers can make a pass. They're going to kind of change things in terms of the gap between the driver in front and behind them. So again, Lockie Hughes looking to get what would be, Greg, his 3rd win of the season. And it's very interesting because he won one of the races at St. Pete, one of the races at Sebring. He has not yet won a race here in Indianapolis to be victorious in all 3 weekends, but looking like it could be a possibility here.
And again, a chance for a 3rd consecutive podium finish based in the span of about 25 hours here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. If you do that, you may not be in this series for long. You could get the bump up very quickly to Pro 2000.
Yeah, Lockie's a driver that'll be looking to move up. Simon Sykes, of course, already I think has the talent to move to the Pro 2000 category. He just needs the opportunity. For Sykes, he needs the opportunity to finish this season. And we've seen this before. We saw it with Miles Rowe, who was struggling for money, did the same thing, came out of the gate in USF 2000 and was able to win some races and then able to put the program together to go with Paps to Pro 2000. So Simon Sykes looking to follow in the footsteps there. But folks, we're going to lose this pace car because it's time to go back to racing. We'll see the green flag with 3 laps remaining in this run here for USF 2000. Lots of great racing for you in the afternoon here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but we're going to cap things off. 3 more laps for USF 2000. Hughes, Sykes, Johnson, Papasavas, and Clark lining them all up as we get ready to go back to racing. And again, we've saw this before. Here comes the green flag. This was very similar to what we saw in that Pro 2000 race as the green flag flying and all the drivers not ready to go. We're going to go 3 wide. Max Garcia trying to get some spots as well. Papasavas is getting eaten up a little bit. Here comes Clark to the bottom. All the way to the bottom, and Sykes is going to run the outside. Does he beat him through? And he does. Sykes, I think nobody almost goes off. They're side by side. That was Nikita Johnson, I think, there too. What a hectic opening start. Sykes is on the inside, and he's lost a spot to his teammate Max Garcia. So I think that might have been Nikita Johnson who went way to the outside, but instead Lockie Hughes able to get it coming out of turn number 2.
Again, now we've got somebody jumping a corner here. They'll have to give some positions back, cutting that corner, coming through the switchback section, headed down to Holman Boulevard.
Again, everybody trying to get everything they can. These restarts are a great opportunity to grab a spot or two, and that's why you see these guys getting aggressive. Down to the inside comes Gardner as well. That is Chase Gardner, I believe, trying to make a move by one of the Jay Howard cars. Again, working their way through turn number 10 now. The scrap is back underway. 2 to go this time by. And again, Lockie Hughes challenged aggressively by Nikita Johnson, but did a tremendous job holding him off.
It is Hughes, Johnson, Sykes. That's how they're going currently 1, 2, 3 at the front of the field.
Sykes, I think, potentially, Greg, maybe back to 4th spot. If indeed that is Nikita Johnson in 2nd, I think Max Garcia's got himself up into 3rd. That's the Advance Auto Parts car. They just officially announced the sponsorship for Advance Auto Parts for Max Garcia and the Pabst Racing Machine. We'll pick him up. Indeed, that it is. Indeed, yeah, Sykes back to 4th spot. Clark runs in 5th. Ethan Ho 6th. Here comes Gardner. There's a good battle there for Gardner. He's going to try to make a move by Papasavas. That was the fight we talked about. Gardner on the outside, Papasavas on the inside. Can he make it work? He'll roll the outside of the corner. Gardner trying to come through to get another position as he is scrapping. And he is through indeed. Great pass there for Chase Gardner. Remember, lost a wing, went to the tail of the field. He's up to 6th.
This is the 2nd time in 2 days he has come from the back of the field to be in the top 6 of a race.
Oh, man. Hey, a lot of opportunity to learn how to pass cars. I'm okay with that. He would obviously like to be starting up front, not have the incidents he has, but Chase Gardner most definitely putting on a show here today, as is 14-year-old Max Garcia. Not old enough to run our first race at St. Petersburg, had to make his debut at Sebring, just 14 years of age. Top national carter with a lot of national championship wins and titles. And this is a young driver we've been watching for the last couple of years. He looks very good here with Augie Pap's team.
And again, these USF 2000 races do not take long because we'll have 1 to go next time by.
Looking at the screen like there might have been something there for, is that not Chase Gardner?
It is.
Chase Gardner being shown off the racetrack potentially over a 9. We can't see it on screen, but on our map where we see the drivers going around, it looks like Chase Gardner, who's just put on a show, has fallen out of the race. White flag flying this time by. Final lap. And we may go yellow, but this is the final lap. White flag flying. And Gardner is off somewhere over in the 8, 9, 10 complex. You have got to be kidding me. This kid has been up, back, put a show on coming up to 7th position, potentially off the racetrack over in turn 9. But final lap, as we said, Lockie Hughes over Nikita Johnson, Max Garcia, Simon Sykes, and Matt Clark. That is your top 5. Greg, we're going to see him here coming through the 5-6 combo because they're going to come down to 7, 8, 9. We'll potentially be able to see if there's an issue here for Gardner off the racetrack. That's where we're showing him on our track map. But Lockie Hughes trying to hold off Johnson. They'll work their way down here. Johnson not quite close enough. Maybe a battle for 2nd spot, though. Indeed, Sykes is going to go around the outside of Garcia, so move Sykes to P3. They'll come through. There's Gardner to the right side of the screen. So something happened to Chase Gardner, right side off the racetrack. What a horrible end for Gardner, who's shown so well here this weekend at Indianapolis. A lot of talent for that young Texan. But this is the final circuit. They'll come through now, turn number 11 to 12. And really no opportunity for Nikita Johnson from here. You can't really even get the drag race to the line, I don't think, but we could see it. Now, good job here for Lockie Hughes. He has won a race, folks, in every event so far this year. He will extend his point lead out of turn number 14. The winner in USF 2000 Race 3 in Indianapolis is Lockie Hughes. The Aussie wins by just over 0.3 of a second from Nikita Johnson. Simon Sykes able to get by his teammate to go to P3. Onto the podium again for Sykes. He'll lose some ground in the championship, but still a solid run for Simon. Max Garcia, his best finish of the year. He goes up to 4th. Matt Clark holding on to P5. And a good overall weekend for Matt Clark as well. 5th, and 6th, I believe, for him.
I was going to say, for our final podium shot, which you'll be out here for in a matter of moments, my friend, you're going to have guys in Hughes, Johnson, and Sykes. Hughes and Johnson will be in all 3 pictures from this weekend here on the podium. And Sykes today will go first and third. So really, those three drivers clearly won today's race. They won the weekend as well here in the USF 2000
Indeed,
series.
and one of the things we always look at, Greg, is 4 different teams as well in the top 5. We talk about the parity that we have. So many fantastic teams in our paddock. Hughes running for J. Howard Driver Development, Johnson for VRD Racing, both Sykes and Garcia for Pabst Racing, and Matt Clark as well for D-Force Racing. And there is Jay Howard, no stranger to this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There go the engine builders from Elite Engines. And again, big one there for Jay Howard. Not only has he won here before in Indy Lights competition, also, of course, a multi-time starter of the Indianapolis 500.
So again, Hughes, Johnson, Sykes, Garcia, Clark, our top 5. Ho, Papasabas, Deselski, Taylor, and Scully round out our top 10. We finish with 13 cars on the lead lap. Garcia Arce finishes 14th, Gardner in 15th again. Could not finish the race running, could Gardner, but able to thankfully pull that car off enough to the side at the end where we did not have to finish on a full course yellow for the final lap of this event.
Indeed, just got to feel so bad for Chase Gardner, who has just absolutely some tremendous racing. He looked so good there, wasn't able to capitalize and bring it home, but he definitely did show his pace. We did have a number of drivers, folks, with top 10s here today. Simon Sykes first and third. Lucky Hughes, as we know, did a great job here as well today. So a number of drivers doing good work here with getting top 10s here on a Saturday.
And again, all of these young drivers, many of them first-timers here, now can say, I have completed a race weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Indeed, they'll always have that. There you saw the unofficial results. Lucky Hughes brings that car down here across the yard of bricks. He will be thrilled with that one. Lucky needed to get back into victory lane. Again, 3 podiums all total, and he has won 1 race in all 3 races of the year. 1 at Sebring, 1 at St. Petersburg. He's also a victor here now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A great drive for Nikita Johnson. Was right there in second. Good for the points as well. This is good. It just really tightens things up, which is exciting. Same goes for Matt Clark. He's going to be able to probably work himself up into 5th place in points, I believe. So Clark getting himself where he needs to be. There is your top 6. Hughes, Johnson, Sykes, Garcia up to 4th, Matt Clark 5th, and Ethan Ho for DC Autosport. What a great run there for Ethan Ho as well. Ethan started a little bit further back in 11th. He finds himself up into 6th, so a good run for him. But Lucky Hughes out of the car and getting an opportunity to chat a bit with the teammates and the crew, and he will be thrilled to get up here to the podium for sure. Lucky Hughes to win .358, not much, as Nikita Johnson putting the pressure on him. Simon Sykes, as we said, in 3rd. Those drivers now will work their way up to the podium here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
So again, with that, our next on-track activity will be the Indy Next race that will take place at 1 o'clock. Rob Howden will make the quick jaunt over to Victory Podium, and he'll have an interview with our race winner and the presentation of our 3 podium finishers, as a well-deserved victory hug from Jay Howard goes to Lucky Hughes. Again, what a weekend for Lucky as he finishes second, and 1st in the 3 races that take place here at 16th and Georgetown on this Friday and Saturday combination.
Last lap pass puts him back onto the podium, so a good day all told after winning race number 1. From Pabst Racing, 3rd place finisher Simon Sykes. And to present Simon with his 3rd place trophy, one of our guests from Discount Tire, Davin Dill. Davin, thank you very much. Hop up there with him for a shot. Drivers here in the top 3 on the podium, all in the top 3 in the points championship as well. The young pilot finishing here in 2nd spot, just 14 years of age for VRD Racing. Put your hands together for Nikita Johnson, P2. And one of our guests from Cooper Tires, Pauline Markoff, will present Nikita with another trophy. Already a winner this year at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg in his hometown race. This kid has a ton of talent, just 14 years of age and running up front in this USF 2000 program. But again, the battle we've seen throughout the year, the driver who will bring out now to go on the podium has won 1 race at every event so far. He scored 1 of the victories at St. Petersburg, 1 of them at Sebring as well. And the driver winning here today for J. Howard Driver Development is Lucky Hughes. How important was it for you to get that win, Lucky? Yeah, obviously on the podium the first 2 races, but to get back up on top.
No, I'm so happy to finally win. We've literally finished 2nd in every session this weekend except for qualifying. So always the bridesmaid, never the groom, or however that saying goes. But yeah, it's actually Mother's Day back home now. So Mum said I had to win for her as a Mother's Day present because I'm not there. So There's one for you, Mum. But yeah, I can't thank the team enough. What an up and down weekend in terms of racing. I mean, we always finished in the top 2 in the races, but I was down, qualified 11th. I had bad restarts and went back in the field. So to get 3 solid points finishes this weekend is it's awesome. I can't thank Jay Howard, Joseph Hidalgo, and the whole team enough.
Congratulations. Get on top of this podium. Lockie Hughes, folks, another win, his 3rd on the season. And again, one of our guests from Cooper Tires, Mike Markoff, will bring him another winning trophy. 1 from every race so far. He is the point leader and stretches that out. It was 7 points coming into this 3rd race, and the point lead will likely stretch out to probably around 20 points, maybe a little less than 20 points. Again, lots more racing still to come for these drivers, though, as we all know. Just under about maybe 10 days from now, we'll be out at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the Carb Night Classic and the Freedom 75, that fantastic race on the 8th mile oval. And again, we head after that to tracks like Road America, Mid-Ohio, the streets of Toronto, of course, as well. Wrapping up our season on Labor Day weekend at Portland International Raceway up in the Pacific Northwest. We'll see which one of these drivers is going to go away with that scholarship for over $440,000. Again, all these young drivers racing for the scholarship, the chance to move up to the USF Pro 2000 program in 2024. So all in all, a tremendous way to finish up triple header for USF 2000. The battle back and forth, these drivers going at it. So many drivers up front. The craziness of those coming from deeper in the field. Great run, as we talked about, for Chase Gardner going awry on the final circuit. Max Garcia had a good run to get himself into the top 5. Was 3rd until his teammate overtook him in turn number 7 on that final circuit. But again, a number of drivers having good runs, staying out of trouble as well. We saw good speed out of Evagoras Papasavas as well. Great to have all of our partners here this weekend as well, from Cooper Tires and Discount Tire. Discount Tire, the sponsor of our partner for our Driver Advancement Scholarship Program, which is, again, the calling card of this USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires, a series formerly known as the Road to Indy. And this is the opportunity now as we cap things off. These drivers have been on the podium. Lockie's been on the podium all 3 times, as has Nikita Johnson. And remember, they haven't been able to spray each other with the champagne because they got to wear the suit for the next race. Well, they don't have to wear these suits again for about a week and a half. So when they get these champagne bottles flying, I guarantee a couple of guys are going to get hosed down on this one, because we're going to cap things off, folks, from this edition of our USF Championships program. Thank you so much, guys, for having us here. Drivers, grip it and rip it. Away we go. Champagne flying here in the victory podium at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That caps things off. Thank you so much. A great run again. The winner today, Lockie Hughes, your point leader. Greg Rakestraw. It was a fantastic battle.